quick video today about something that came up a lot in the comment section of my last video, and that is how to motivate yourself to start drawing again when you've fallen off the wagon. And this happens to everyone. It's probably the hardest part of learning, really anything. I found that when I'm trying to get back into drawing after I take a break, there's almost always some resistance, and sometimes that resistance is so strong. But because this has happened to me so many times, I found that there are a few little things I can do to kind of ease myself back into the process. For me, the main goal during this transitional period is focused on addressing that feeling of resistance and overcoming that feeling of resistance. Once I feel like I'm back in a routine, I can then transition my efforts into focusing on more intensive study or more creative work, but this is absolutely not something I can manage over the first few days of trying to get back into a routine. So, obviously what works for me won't work for everybody, but here are a few tips for getting back on track when you've taken a break from drawing. Number 1, now is not the time to think big. I think many artists, myself included, dream of someday achieving mastery, but that can be a really intimidating and amorphous concept. If you start drawing, or rather in this case, if you restart drawing, and you're already focused on the end goal of mastery, it can feel very overwhelming and frankly just really discouraging. When you're trying to get back on track, give your long-term goals a rain check and focus only on short-term things that you can do right now. This leads me to number 2, which is make your goals very concrete and totally achievable. For me, that means giving myself a time goal versus a production goal or a creativity goal. For example, I'll draw for an hour a day is way more manageable than I'll finish an amazing digital painting that I can share on Instagram. Yes, it's a little uninspiring, and honestly, it even sounds a little bit lazy at times, but that's kind of the point. When you're starting up your practice, it's just so important to set yourself up for success. Having a positive association with drawing and showing yourself that you are totally capable of getting back into the routine is absolutely critical at this point, and it's way more important than being productive or having something pretty to show for it. So for me, if I know I have 4 hours a day that I can draw, if I'm starting back up, I will only draw for 2 hours because I want to be 100% sure that I will succeed and that it will be a positive experience and I will feel encouraged to keep drawing. Number 3, work through an educational curriculum or do a short-term challenge like Inktober, for example. I have found that I can dodge a lot of resistance if I don't have to make any decisions. So going through a course like Watts, Proco, Drawbox, etc. means that you don't have to think about what you're going to do on a given day. And for me, the less opportunities I have to derail, the better. I'd suggest sticking with a really linear program and make sure it's appropriate for your skill level. Again, the goal is to keep your self-esteem up and to not get discouraged. If you attempt something that's beyond your skill level, you're much more likely to quit. Number 4, beware of the inspiration rabbit hole. I've found that when I'm not feeling like drawing, my initial instinct is to look for external inspiration, which makes a lot of sense, except that it doesn't actually work. In my experience, looking for inspiration, especially on social media, has never actually made me feel more inspired to draw. More often than not, it leads to more resistance and this idea that I will never be as good as the people that I look up to. So for me, the inspiration trap is largely just a way that I kind of try and trick myself into thinking that I'm being productive, and it pretty much always backfires. Those are my 4 tips for getting yourself back into a drawing habit. If you guys have any ideas or specific things that have worked for you, please let me know in the comments. I certainly have not mastered this. I am a permanent work in progress when it comes to my drawing habit, so I'm always interested in hearing what works for other people. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time.